Thanks for tuning in to Try 5 Talk with your host, Daniel, Craig, and Joe, as they spend the next hour talking with special guests and talking tech and tips. All right, we are back live this week. We are live here on YouTube, and we have Chad Reynolds with us this week from bangshift.com. He is the voice of Sick Week. One of the voices.
One of.
But man, does he know how to tell some stories. And well, we were supposed to have Monza this week, but something happened, so we couldn't have him. So I thought, who better to have come and tell us about Sick Week, tell us about stuff, and give us some cool stories. Can we pry some stories out of you about Sick Week?
Nope. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Absolutely.
You tell me Chad keeping his mouth shut? I don't believe that.
I don't either. Nobody that knows me would believe that. It was a good time. And like you said, one of the voices, Derek Putnam on the mic in the tower, Adam Dory and I bouncing all over the place, doing interviews and then in the tower as well. And of course, me, my normal, I love being on the starting line where, quite frankly, where all drag racing should be announced from. My opinion, every single drag race on earth that is not a bracket race should be announced from the starting line. I believe that at every level, NHRA and everything else, you're doing it in the tower, you're just missing all the good stuff. So, because quite frankly, nobody needs any of the information on the screen in the tower unless you're announcing a bracket race. Otherwise, who cares? I can see the scoreboard. And quite frankly, I know way more than 99% of the announcers who are announcing from the booth. If I'm standing on the starting line, I can tell you what really happened. That guy left in high gear. That guy shook the shit out of it because he didn't put enough power in it, right? You can say, you really can tell. Can I tell that he went 020 to 030 on the tree? No, right? But if there's a real hole shot, you can tell it, and it's just more fun. So
I think it's good you being down there anyways, because then you can do weird TikTok videos with Alex Taylor dancing around too.
Duh. Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Alex Taylor.
Did anybody else see that one on the internet today?
Dude, it was bad.
I didn't see anything.
It's hilarious. So Alex, we've been friends with the Taylors for a long time, right? And
right.
And so, Alex is fun. Her and her mom, Debbie, and Dennis, and the entire Megan, the entire family. They're super cool, right?
Don't forget Mika.
And Mika, yes, exactly.
I live for Mika.
Mika does not like anybody coming up to her truck, though. Let me tell you. You come up to Alex's truck, and Mika's like, she's like Otis. She's like, dude, it's my truck. I will bite you if you come near my truck. But yeah, I mean, they're fun people. They're cool to be around. And I've known them long enough that, technically Alex is young enough to be, my kid, but she's not my kid. So we get to goof off and have fun without it being my own kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
right.
So, and she knows that, she just walks up to me and goes, Chadwick, come over here. We're doing this. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? And I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
that sounds like that's how you got started in anything you've ever done.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, anything worth doing. Yes, absolutely.
Like, hey, we're going to get in a pro mod and drive 1,000 miles. You in?
Yes. Because why wouldn't you? I'll wait till you hear my latest airbrain scheme, but that's another thing. But yes, we had a good time on Sick Week. I actually have a live show that I am going to do, I believe on Thursday. I'll announce it tomorrow.
That's with Lyle, correct?
No, this one, actually, Lyle and I are going to do our show tomorrow night, but Thursday night, I'm going to do one on my own that is going to be the truth behind all the Drag and Drive events. So, there's a lot of stuff that people don't understand, that people that want to go on them, they have a misunderstanding of what it's really like and some of the things they need to prep for. There is a ton of confusion on what actually happens at different ones. It's crazy.
Let's talk about driving all the way from Canada to Florida just to do a drag and drive.
Dude, Rich Guido. Rich Guido drives from Canada to do every drag and drive event. I mean, he's been doing Rocky Mountain Race Week for years, Drag Week, and now Sick Week. He did not do Midwest drags, but only because of COVID, I believe. Rich is an awesome dude. He's got that twin turbo Pontiac powered stick shift GTO. And by GTO, I don't mean the jelly bean they later sold and called a GTO, but actual GTO. It's a 65 or 6, and it's epic. That car, he averaged in the 8s for the week. And yeah, I believe during the award ceremony, he said that between driving to the event and all of the driving on the event before leaving there to go back home to Canada, he was already at 4,600 miles for the trip. So, yeah. So everybody else who thinks they got a street car can suck it. Because if you have an 8-second street car and you wouldn't drive it 5 or 6 or 7,000 miles
in February,
you ain't got shit. Yeah. I hate mud flaps on cars. Like, they piss me off. If you put those stupid little mud flaps on your car because you don't want to get rubber on the quarter panels when you do burnouts, you should be smacked in the mouth. Unless you're Rich Guido and you drive through the snow with your shit, and then it's fine.
Oh yeah. So I real quick, while we were talking about Rich, I messaged him the link and I told him we're talking about you right now, and he's not returning back to the the Facebook message. So he's probably watching now.
He probably is. That's all right. Rich is awesome. He knows that I love that guy.
He is. He just commented 7,540 miles to get home.
There you go. 7,540.
How far does it get on a tank?
That I don't know.
How many stops is that? That's like, let's just we'll see if he comments, but let's also give it up this week. I'm calling this the week of the wagons. You know, this was just, there's so many cool wagons out there. You know, Steve Morris, we had Aiden's Shitbox of Doom Rip. You know, we had, and there was a lot of just tri-5s in there too. I saw, you know, there's the big ones that, you know, are real popular, but looking in the background, I just saw a ton of tri-5s out there and some really damn nice ones too. Chad, what were some of your big themes that you saw this year that maybe kind of diverged from other drag weeks?
You know,
Rich says 240-ish miles.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Not bad.
Not bad for what, 1,000 horsepower?
Yeah. Oh, more than that. Yeah. It made 14. He told me in an interview I did with him on Sick Week, it did 1,400 and something at the tire.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's moving.
Yeah. It makes some sauce. It makes some sauce for sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Rich is a badass. I mean, there's a lot of great guys with cool stuff. I'll tell you that, one of the trends this year, and we've actually seen this over the last few years, it's been coming around, is Volvos. So like 240s and 5 Series or whatever they are. I know the 240s. I don't know the other newer ones than that, but there are a few of those boxy, really nasty, ugly looking Volvos that nobody in their right mind would want if you didn't put a turbo LS or a big block or something in it. Yeah. And they're Swedes out there
in particular. Yeah,
the Swedes. Love those guys. There's several of them that were on the trip, and they're awesome. Super, super fun. So that was kind of a trend. I will tell you something that we saw on Sick Week that we had not seen very much of in recent years, and I loved, was there were several cars running in the 850 in a class with an 850 index there were a handful of them that were Fox body Mustangs. So I'll use them as the example that legitimately had like wheels on them. And that's it. Like, otherwise they looked straight up like a factory car, maybe a little lower with wheels and tires. One of them actually had the factory 5-spoke pony wheels with the 17s, like wide up front and out back with a 275, 50, 17 drag radial in the back, running 850s and winning the class. Like full exhaust. I mean, still 5.0 exhaust out under the quarter panel at the, the whole deal, dude. Like,
now, are they doing that? Are they doing that for style, or are they doing that for the drive portion?
No, I think they're doing it because they're like, dude, I have a sleeper car that nobody would believe runs 850. Like if it didn't have a parachute on the back of it, there's no way you'd have a clue. It literally would just be oh, look at that clean Fox body cruising down the street. Like you'd have no idea. That and the one that won it was bright red, gorgeous car. The guy's name just went out of my head, but it had a rack on the roof with a mountain bike on it. And there was they didn't have a trailer or anything else because they weren't swapping tires or doing any of that. So, dude, they just had their junk in the trunk of a 5.0. And I mean, it was a notchback Fox body, super clean. It was rad.
To be honest, what I've kind of thought about doing is I've kind of thought about just leaving my street engine in my 55 and probably not next year, but the following year, look at doing one of the drag and drive events and go run it with the stick shift guys. Granted, it's only like a 500 horse small block, 355, but
yeah, but it's still
just
fun.
going and doing it,
Yeah.
I don't know as I'd really want to be in the sick ward, and the sick ward was basically kind of like power tour kind of, right?
Yeah, it was road week. It's the same as we do on Rocky Mountain Race Week. We have road week and race week. We've had it for several years. So, right. And it's but here's why you want to do that. Like, so if you want to race, then race, obviously. But if you want to just go and have a good time, you absolutely should do road week, or in this case, sick ward, because what you're getting is basically the entry's half the price. And I don't know the particulars on sick ward, so I'm going to use Rocky Mountain to make sure I'm not lying to anybody. But on Rocky Mountain Race Week, it's half the price. You get t-shirts for up to 4 people. You get entry into every day's racetrack for up to 4 people. You get to park in the pits at the racetrack every day. You get windshield banner. You get a number on the car. You're in the raffles. There's actually trophies for the coolest road week person and car as voted on by the race weekers, which is cool. There's a bunch of, this year, there's cash prizes for the road weekers. There's a bunch of stuff I'm not even supposed to be talking about right now. So trust me, it's cool. And the best part about it is that, I mean, let's say that, Dan and Craig, you guys decide to go, right? You're going to go together in Dan's car. But Joe says, oh, hell no, I want to bring my, a couple other buddies. We're just going to follow along and drink beer, and have a good time.
Right.
Well, then you do that, right? You come along and you have fun. And you cannot do that on drag week. On drag week, your buddies cannot follow along. You will get in trouble. You'll get yelled at. They bitch at you because it's stupid. It's just dumb. And
that's a good point.
On road week, you're allowed to do it and it's official and it's okay. The other benefit of road week is one time during the week, you get to help any one competitor one time.
Ooh.
So you get to be the savior, right? You could save Rich Guido, right?
Dude.
I mean, that's awesome, right?
So could I do like road week in a ramp truck or something?
Yes, in anything
you can do it in whatever you want.
Dude, I'm telling you, so Newbern and a couple of his buddies were in his 57 and did all of sick ward, week, right, with us. And we traveled together several of the days and just had a great time. And those dudes were having as much fun as anybody else. And Newbern's like, I don't care about racing my car. He goes, my car, like if I'm lucky, it runs 13s. I don't need that. I don't even care. He goes, I'm going to break junk. That doesn't add to the fun. He goes, right. I'm here to have a good time and I'm going to go have fun. So he shot video and photos and goofed off and hung out with everybody and just had a great time. I mean, a great time.
I was thinking about doing one just to practice just to get the experience and understand kind of the ins and outs that obviously don't make it to camera or that no one talks about. So I was going to do one in a fairly reliable car that I could trust, but this makes it sound like it's a freaking party too. So
it is. And keep this in mind, folks, no matter what anybody says that hasn't done this or has only done a couple of them, most of the carnage happens on the road or as a result of the road. Your shit doesn't break at the racetrack. It may break there, but it didn't break because you let go of the trans brake button again.
Yeah.
Not with very rare exception. most of the time, damage occurs on the road that either rears its ugly head on the road or soon after getting to the racetrack.
Yeah, we saw so many head
that's
issues this year that put people out.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Just cylinder heads, valve trains, everything.
Rich Guido in the house. Hey, how cold is it there?
I think it's like -5 Celsius. So I don't know what that would be.
11 degrees below zero. That's exactly how cold that is.
That's not that cold.
So for those who don't know, we got Rich Guido here. Since we were talking about him, I messaged him and he says, "Hey, do you want to jump on with us?" So we got Rich Guido here. So Rich, how was your drive home?
You know what? It was actually pretty uneventful. Doing this journey in the winter, we literally didn't hit any snow falling at all, and we hit a little bit of wet ground. Other than that, we did 7,540 miles on pretty much dry pavement in the middle of February. So we purposefully left a little early and then hightailed it back. Like we did 920 miles every day for the last 3 days to get home today.
Well, and you've been gone for what, almost 2 weeks now, week and a half at least.
Yeah, pretty much 2 weeks. Yeah.
Is your old man wore out?
Oh yeah, he's wore out. Kyle's ass is wore out from climbing in the back. I have a video of the unberthing where he has to climb back in every time. It is not like some of those roads are bad too. Like his head was bouncing off the roof more than once back there. I think
where are you located, Rich?
Red Deer, Alberta. So I'm 6 hours straight north of the Montana border.
Okay. I was thinking I'm in Minneapolis right now, and I'm like -4 Celsius. So, and it's a warm day for us.
Yeah. I mean, the weather's really not too bad here. It warmed up after we left. Like there was a snowstorm that chased us across the country. It hit here too. But since then, there's been a Chinook. It was a couple of days. It was warmer up here than it was in Florida, actually. So
really, well, we had 54, 55 degrees here in Nebraska today. So,
well, it was in the 30s every single night of sick week. Every night, right? Wasn't it? So it was.
How many guys that drove on their slicks came out to like tires that were way low?
Oh, every one of them. Yeah, every one of them. Well, especially if on a big tire car. Like the Corvette that won everything, right? So Stefan's car, that thing did, unless you're an officer of the law, that thing did the entire route on the Hoosier slicks. And so it's, those big tires are not aired, like they're not up at 20 pounds, right?
No, they're like maybe 15 at the most when they're driving.
Maybe, exactly. And on the racetrack, they're just like 5, right? So
5.
So yeah, when you're sitting there and it gets 35 degrees overnight, burr. Well, I'll put it to you this way. If you want to know how the cold affects things, and this will give you an idea too, a problem Rich does not have, because he uses a man pedal and a clutch and and a stick. But on the last morning, Biggin and Stefan got in the Corvette in the morning, fired it up, and went to pull out of the parking spot, tried to back up, and the car would not go into reverse.
Well, so it's got to warm up the fluid, doesn't it?
Yeah, Biggin shut it off. They, checked everything, all the wiring, everything was fine. The car would go forward and everything, but they were able to drive out of the parking lot. They drove for about 10 minutes. And when they stopped again to get gas or whatever, Biggin checked it and then it backed up. So the solenoid for the trans brake, the fluid in that was a wee bit chillier than it liked, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, I love that about Sick Week, because Rocky Mountain Race Week and some of those ones in the heat of summer, you're working on your car to keep it cool. You're boiling fuel, you're putting ice bags on your intercoolers, you're doing everything. But now we have something in the cold, kind of the earlier part of the year. So it's just another challenge to kind of work on for your build.
Well, and you're right, but it's funny because Rich can attest to this. The entire marketing principle of this event was that it was going to be shorter and that it was going to be in warm weather in Florida in February, where everywhere else was frozen. And I was like, who are the idiots that thought this was the reality of the scenario? Like, have you never been to Florida? Do you not know about smudge pots burning in order for for the citrus groves to not freeze? Like, for the love of all that is holy, at least know what you're talking about. I mean, so it surprised all the people that pay no attention to anything else. And the rest of us were like, yeah, it's February.
And it's not just cold, it's cold and wet. I saw there's some rain on some of those days.
It feels way colder than it really is.
Yeah, it's like getting out of the shower into a fridge.
I've got a couple questions, Chad, so I want you to answer. Where does the name Sick Week come from? Does it stand for something? I've got a couple of questions that have come through my phone here for it.
Yeah. So look at that sexy helmet. Ooh, even had Bailey sign it. So Sick Week is for Project Sick Seconds is Bailey's car. It's not Project 6 Seconds. It's Project Sick Seconds. And so that's where the sick comes from. So everything Bailey does is sick. So he has now Sick, the magazine that they've put together, which is a magazine that focuses almost exclusively on drag and drive events. And that's where the term came from.
Awesome. Well, that answers that. Now, did you get a chance to meet, and Daniel, help me out on the names, I forget, but God, we just had him on, now I'm blanking. Shows you how nice of a guy I am with the 55 wagon, the nice kid.
Tom Stark?
Tom Stark, yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Blayne.
Oh, yeah, they were rock stars this week.
They're hilarious.
Every time. They're awesome.
They are. Tom is a really mean man. He does not like his 55 Chevy. Actually, he likes the car okay. He absolutely hates every engine he's ever put in it and does everything he can to it and to try and be as mean to them as possible. And that means that whenever you say they should only rev to $9,000, 11 is the number. I mean, if you are with them, you cringe when that car runs. And at Gainesville, the second to last run they made with that car, he went first gear, second gear, first gear, and there's no way that thing wasn't at $11,000. No way. And
wait a minute. Did you say Tom was turning that thing that hard?
Oh, dude, it's insane. Am I right, Rich?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
And that's not the first. I think that's like the third time he's money shifted it like that too.
Yes.
And it's one thing if you're shifting at 7 and you money shifted and it goes to 10, but he's shifting. I don't know where he's shifting, but so when you money shift it, ooh,
dude. Yeah. And the kid, right? As I refer to him, the little punk
crew chief,
dude. Yeah. So I'm like, what the hell was your dad doing? He goes, it's fine. I go, it's not fine. He goes, he does that all the time. I'm like, it doesn't make it okay.
I was like, on the videos, on the footage, we're watching crew chief, we see the run, we see it get to half track and it just goes to him and he's like, well, we'll go again.
Yeah.
Tom says 82. Tom Stark says 8,200.
8,200 is what he shifts at.
He's routing down.
Yeah. So when you go first gear, 8,200, grab second, 8,200, back to first. What that means is 11,000 RPM. Dude, I'm telling you, that's where it was. $11,000 all day long. The valve springs are like,
hey, and that's 11,000 because you're at valve float. It can't physically rev.
Oh yeah, dude. There's no parts actually touching each other anymore at that RPM. Everything's just floating around. Like that's how he lives. It's like the Matrix, dude, under the valve covers. It's bad.
What else? What else did you see out there, Chad? I saw a couple trailers get wrecked.
Oh yeah, I don't understand how that happened, except to say, I think people need to pay more attention to how they mount their hitch and all that. I think that was the problem.
Well, now wasn't Aiden Bailey's, wasn't it somebody clipped the side of his trailer? Or was it not even Aiden?
Oh, yeah, no, other people have got, there were people that got hit, but like Doug Cook, him and Red like flipped their trailer up on its side a couple times.
Successfully flipped. That's what I loved about Doug's post. We successfully flipped the trailer again.
Yeah.
And somebody said, what does successfully look like when you're
exactly.
It was like in each of those stories they were saying, well, we just went around a turn and it was raining, but I still don't understand how you roll a trailer unless you're just really cooking around a turn.
Have you ever flipped your trailer, Rich?
Nope, not yet.
Thank God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
can tell you that I've built a bunch of trailers, and I can tell you that, like, axle placement is key. But the other thing about it is there are a bunch of people that, even though these are little trailers, they're loading them wrong. And so you end up watching them go down the road and they are like 0 tongue weight. And that it just beats the holy hell out of the thing.
And you're filling up gas cans and putting them on the very top, where all the weight is and everything.
Yeah, it's just no bueno.
So we looked at the cars a lot. We can look at a lot of YouTube channels to see that. But who had the coolest trailer?
Biggin. Biggin wins the coolest trailer every time. And the reason is Biggin's trailer is, well, it's bigger than everybody else's, but it's like only half full. And it's made from 2 NASCAR pit boxes, like that they were throwing away from an old NASCAR Cup team because he used to work for Cup teams. And so he put them together and made this big trailer. But that's not what makes it the best. What makes it the best is the fact that it has 2 kegs of beer in it and a jockey box and a gas power blender in it at all times. So winning every time, Biggin.
Yeah. They won quite a bit this week.
Oh yeah.
I think they would have more people over at their trailer than anything, probably.
So let's talk about some of the big, the big breakdowns. I think, pretty early on we saw Tom Bailey go out. Any other noteworthy kind of breakdowns that you saw that maybe didn't get to the mainstream?
Well, I don't know that didn't get to the mainstream, but I mean, those 2, Schroeder and Bailey are were the 2 heaviest hitters in the field. And
Schroeder, didn't he blow up on the first day? Like,
they both broke out day hood. 1. Yeah. And I heard a myriad of things about Schroeder's combo. So I heard, I'll tell you the 2 most common things I heard, and I don't know which is true. I heard burned all 8 pistons. I heard nothing wrong with the pistons, but the engine, because of some stuff he had to do after just getting it in the car, didn't get to seat the rings. And so that was the problem. Personally, I mean, new piston ring technology, that shouldn't be an issue, but I don't know. So I have no idea. But I do know that they stayed at the racetrack for a couple of days, fixed the engine or put another engine in it or whatever, and did some testing before we got back on Friday. So that car is bad to the bone. I mean, there's no doubt. It is way, way awesome. So super cool. But yeah, the 2 of them out. What do you think, Rich? I mean, who were some of the ones you were surprised by?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Taylors were another one that they were out. I mean, we had 60, I think, by day 3, right? 60
yeah.
The big joke was now Bailey's got to try to register for his own event because he doesn't have 2 days of his 2-day average is not in the top 100 because he only had a 1-day average. So
right. Mark Cicino.
Now wait a minute.
Mark Cicino and his awesome G body. Like, I love Mark. He's a good dude. He's done a ton of drag and drive events. And the very first time in the history of him doing drag and drive events, he hurt the motor. And that sucked. That was in South Georgia. That sucked.
Yeah.
But now wait a minute. If Tom Bailey doesn't have have a 5-day average, but he has a 1-day average, doesn't he have the best average of all?
No. When you add then the 20 that is every day that you didn't make a run and you're out. Yeah.
A little bit of dilution.
And I say
there.
20. I don't know what the number is on sick week. I didn't pay attention. I think it's 20. Everything. The one thing about sick week you got to understand is sick week and drag week identical except for where they were held.
Right.
I mean, virtually, they literally took the exact rules from drag week. All the staff is from drag week. Everything was drag week.
So what was up with that 1 second on the green rule?
That was a new thing, and that was smart. Although they changed it to 2 seconds in the second day. Rich,
no, they did. Actually, they talked about it, and there was some chatter about it. But I know for a fact Oppenheim went 1.3 seconds, and they didn't take his time slip. So it was still 1 second, and I think better too. It made the racing way better to watch, and it just forces you to not be sitting there and spooling and making sure everything's perfect. It kind of, I liked it. I liked it.
It gives you more of the actual racing feel versus, hey, I'm just out here
no
on a
drag
Friday
racing
night
actually
making
happening.
passes.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's no racing actually happening. It's just cars going down the racetrack. But if they're having to leave together, it sure makes it feel like it's real racing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Romano and I raced the day one, and I'll tell you, I would have drove 3,500 miles for that race. But he treed the shit out of me, and then I caught him by 8 thou at the top end of the track. So we went side by side through the traps. I think it was like a 3-inch margin, but it's all part of that 1 second rule too. You have to go. So yeah, even watching the few races that I did, it made it so much better, so much more entertaining to watch.
Hey, speaking of entertaining, I think
what are you doing, kid?
Hello.
Hey, isn't it past your bedtime?
Hey.
Isn't it past your bedtime?
No.
No.
Oh, I got to watch my language.
He's got an engine to fix.
Dude, how is the car still running and happy?
The car's at home or still in Florida, but it's perfectly fine.
Did you hear me telling the stories about you saying, oh, he does that all the time, it doesn't matter, when he went from first to second to first?
He does that all the time.
Yeah, see, you know what sucks about your kids is that they will totally rat you out on junk you did that was wrong too. So because he don't think anything out of it, but Tom's like, man, don't say I do it all the time.
It's just a Tuesday. It's just a Tuesday for him. Like
it's 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
But he does that on his YouTube also. When his dad's racing and his dad messes up or does something, he'll be commentary right there saying, oh, he missed that gear. Oh, it's not running right. So the kid's honest. That's the best part.
Well, so one of the best conversations that we had, and Blayne can attest to this, is that it was in Gainesville after we did our party at Don Garlett's Museum of Drag Racing. Tom came into the hotel and I was going in the elevator at the same time they were. And Tom comes in and goes, nitrous is stupid. I'm changing everything over. Right.
Yep.
And I told him, why would you do that? And he goes, because it sucks and it's this and that. We start talking about it. And he goes, I'm just going to put turbos on the car. I said, and nitrous. And he goes, what? I said, I have never, ever put a power adder on a car where nitrous was not on. So if I've put a power adder on a car, it's either had nitrous as the power adder or it's had some other power adder and nitrous. Literally never been a power adder combo I've ever had without nitrous on it ever. Because why would you?
Just gotta be extra.
So I hope that if we see the wagon with something besides nitrous, it has boost and nitrous. Because duh.
Oh, we're staying with the nitrous for a little bit. And we're at least gonna try to go 9s with it.
Oh, close. How close were you?
We went 10:07, and then
I saw that.
It went 137.60 foot on that last pass, and then he missed third. So
oh no,
it was right there. It was trucking, dude.
Oh no.
Well,
Blayne, how are the tracks?
He can get it there with the nitrous. There's no doubt. I think he just needs to do a couple of those things we talked about so that it's not on the ragged edge all the time. I think he could give it more power than he's giving it now.
That was on a 300 shot in the first stage, and it's got another stage and like a whole bunch more.
Yeah, so see?
We're not even pushing the car at all. It's just like we can't figure it out.
Not even pushing
I think
the car,
you put it, I think you get
grand.
progressive that 300, and then is it a 4-speed or a 5-speed in the car?
It's a 5-speed, but we only use the 4 gears.
Okay.
It's got overdrive.
Yeah. So 5th is only for on the highway. So I think you do the 300, do it progressive. And when he shifts it into high gear, then get into the second kit. And that thing will run, it won't run 990s. It'll run 980s or 970s. That's my prediction.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Blayne, what were the track conditions out there?
Oh, they're great. Most of the tracks were prepped pretty good. As you saw, like most of the big tire cars couldn't get down the racetrack because they were prepped so tight. and they rattled the tires because it was so tight for the radial cars, and it was just the prep was great.
Yeah, the one thing that I think people were frustrated by, and I don't mean it frustrated like mad frustrated, I mean frustrated like having to work hard at the tune, was that the big tire cars, you know, the race was from the get-go was said that there would be a radial lane and a slick lane. And what that actually turned into was, because there were so many more radial cars than slick tire cars, it ended up that there was a radial lane and a slick lane until all the slick cars had run, and then they sprayed, made them both radial, figured we'll wear them both out, and then we'll, you know, spray the other one and leave the other one alone for the big tires again. Unfortunately, they didn't do it. They didn't leave it enough. So like Gainesville was horrible. Oh, Gainesville was so tight, dude. The big tire cars could not get down the racetrack there.
If you watched Royce Payton's car, like literally bunny hopped the whole time. It was crazy.
Yeah. The McGilton's car, same deal. It broke there. Royce's car was horrible there. Biggin actually had to take the Corvette. He was not confident in their ability to turn the thing up so high to get it to actually get some wheel speed when they were leading and needed to be safe. So they actually backed the thing down and made it dead hook, and it just went and then drove down the racetrack. I mean, it was their worst ET of the week. And but it was what they needed in order to stay in the
at Gainesville.
Honestly,
Gainesville.
What we love that good prep for the wagon, since we're doing small tire slick stuff, which is very uncommon.
Yeah.
And that's one of the
things. Well, 9-inch slicks, they aren't too all uncommon. I mean, there's a lot of guys running the 9-inch tires. I mean, I do.
Yeah, but not on these events.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Not on those events with the stick shift and leaf springs.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you got me beat at leaf springs. I got ladder bars and coilovers.
The stick shift part of it and the leaf spring is a big deal with the small tire. But the reason that works though, on that sort of radial prep is that for the wagon leaves so violently, right? Yep. Because it has no clutch control of any kind. Now, Rich is using. Do what?
It has a slider clutch in it from Black Magic.
Yeah, that's true. It is a slipper clutch, but it doesn't have it doesn't have any of the clutch control from like a bang shift Billy or whatever, like Armstrong's running and Rich is running. And so
I'm not running one. I'm running the same clutch as Blayne, actually.
Oh, I thought you were on a bang shift Billy already.
No, I'm mechanical linkage, so I can't. That's only for the hydraulic.
That's right. Okay. Well, and see, but it's interesting. If you put those two cars next to each other, dude, Rich's car leaves like an automatic car. Honestly.
Oh, yeah.
His car leaves so smooth and like ramps the power in real hard, which also is a factor of boost control and all those things.
I was gonna say that's kind of a turbo car thing.
Yeah. But dude, I mean, the 55 is just evil,
Yep. It's nitrous. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
You get all your power to the 60 foot, not really out the back door where you're making all the power.
Yeah, mine's the other. Mine's like, come on, donkey, let's go.
Yeah,
let's get her going. She's full stud.
And then
the rest of the track.
Basically, when Rich gets into high gear, it's like, all right, now we're going.
Yeah. It back halves like crazy. Like I reeled. You have to watch the video. I reeled Frank Romano. I bet he was 6 cars out on me, and I clipped him at the end. Like he was going 144 miles an hour. I was going 162 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that
then you dropped the laundry in front of him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you dropped the laundry.
They have dropped the laundry. Yeah. Yeah. Dude,
the coolest thing about Frank's car is like, I've known Frank for a long time now. We did drag weeks together a long time ago. Legitimately, I heard more people talk about how awesome that car is than any other car on during the week. Like actually standing there, like on the starting line and cars pulling up. His was the number one that people went, oh my God, that car is so cool. I mean, it looks like a show car. It's evil. It's rad.
And it's a stick.
Yeah, and it's a stick. That's because it's like the true back then stick shift, big block.
Oh yeah,
stick shift, small tire slick.
yeah,
and it's
NA,
like the legit
classic
NA.
recipe.
It's
yeah,
like
NA runs 940s. NA 940s. Actually, ran 930s, didn't it? This week.
We got a new record this week. Yeah, it was 930. Yeah.
Dude,
is he fiberglass?
No,
it's all steel.
All steel.
Jeez.
Yeah. So and it is. I mean, the thing about it is like his car and Rich's car. They're beautiful cars. Like really straight, really nice car. If you took either one of them and put like, factory wheels on them or something like that and took them to a GTO show or a Tri-5 show, like people would be like, oh, look at that really pretty car. Like they're pretty cars.
Especially
and then they
Rich's
also haul ass.
Especially Rich's car with the stock looking wheels on it. It's like,
oh, I know.
Oh, that car is cool. I wonder how fast it is. And then you look under the hood and you're like, oh.
Weren't they welds with like hubcaps put on them?
That's Honk.
Oh, okay.
Parts fall off. That's
that's right.
I thought that was pretty slick.
I thought the best part about Frank is he sounds like he's on a Sopranos. He's in New Jersey. Oh, yeah. he gets his steak from a meat butcher right around the freaking corner because that's how they do it. I had that.
Yeah. That he's a tattoo artist too. You know that.
Didn't someone ask
really?
Yeah.
Didn't someone ask him why he drove stick and he's like, well, I got 2 balls.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Oh, him and my dad are like thick as thieves when they're together at the races or whatever. Because my dad I grew up as a stick shift racer. My dad has a 68 Z28 Camaro that was a stock eliminator car its whole life. And it's a stick car, obviously it's a Z28. So the two of them that when they met, some, loudmouth from New York and a loudmouth from California, it was like it was a love fest. Let me tell you.
That's
so
awesome.
Just out of curiosity, what's the air like down there? Okay, it's wintertime, it's Florida. How humid is Florida? What's the DA down there? I remember when Dad went to the, there was a Thanksgiving race in, I think it was Montgomery, Alabama, and his car went from 2,000 foot air here in Nebraska to Montgomery, Alabama. They actually had negative, and it was like mine shaft air, and the thing picked up like 2 tenths going from here to there. So what's the air like down there? What's the DA?
The best air was 1,500 below.
Yeah, the air before South Georgia is like negative 2,000 or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think 1,500 was the lowest it was when we like started racing. Yeah. And the highest wasn't the worst DA on the last day at Bradenton, wasn't it? Like it was like 800 above or something like that. It wasn't horrible. Because
we were racing in the afternoon when it was hot. So, hot. Yeah. Usually it's hotter in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. Rich, you look at that all on your data logs too. So what did you see DA wise?
What's interesting is because I'm not using that turbo to near its capacity, like I'm only running like 14 pounds of boost. And I don't run dome control. I actually run boost control. So some of my best mile an hours are actually in Denver because I have tons of turbo, and my brick pushing it through the thick air is actually harder. But when I go to Denver and the air is so thin and I can still make the same power, my car actually goes better in Denver than it does in Florida.
Yeah,
really.
It's kind of it's.
But didn't you get your first 8 down in Florida?
No, I had ran a couple of 8s up here in Canada before.
Okay.
But that was just everything in the run coming together, and I added more boost.
So basically, it was your first 8 in America.
It was my first 8 in competition.
Yeah. And you averaged an 8 all week.
Dude, that was sweet.
Yes.
Dude.
Buddy. Yeah. See, look.
I was so excited. Excited during the awards because he averaged in the 8s. Like that's, if on all the stick shift racers, right? Whether it's Blayne and Tom, it's Armstrong and it's Rich, all these guys, even the Honda guys. Okay. Yeah. They're all like seriously in it together. It is really fun to see. Like, I know that it's easy to like bag on the Honda guys and vice versa for them to bag on us old men with muscle cars, but that's really not the case at all at these events.
Speaking of Hondas, 100 pounds on the boost in the burnout.
And that was 80.
80?
With PFI?
No, it was 80 when it ran out of the BAP sensor, ran out.
Yeah.
And so it probably made like 140. So
and split the block.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was standing there announcing, and it does the burnout. And I was like, well, it just puked all the cooling system out of it.
We were running right next to him. So I looked over and I saw cooling system on the ground. And I was like, oh, it must have blew the intercooler or something.
Well, that's what everybody said. And people started arguing with me. And I'm like, well, unless they have the dirtiest intercooler water on earth, that son of a bitch just puked all of the cooling system out on the ground. And I mean, at that point, we didn't know that the whole engine had obviously split.
It was a little more than a freeze plug.
But
I was like, okay, yep, that one's a goner.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of carnage.
And then there was a bunch of controversy about changing motors on sick week or carrying an extra or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, their motors are small enough, so why not carry a spare?
So there's a rule, and I don't know what it says now, but there used to be a rule on drag week that you couldn't change engines unless there was a catastrophic failure. That was the only way you could replace an engine.
Wait, so that's
I would call that catastrophic.
Failure?
Yeah, that was I agree. Yes. But the reason for that was because Freiberger and them were very short-sighted when they came up with these rules. And their thought was this: they didn't want somebody to be able to have a crazy big block nitrous combo in their car and do the race and then turn in their time slip and go back in the pits and put a stone stock small block in it and do the drive with some mellow engine. Well, the reason that that's short-sighted, and I'm currently planning my own event, and there will specifically be a rule that if you want to do that, rock on. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you have the mind to think of that and then go ahead and proceed to do that every single day when you leave the track and when you get to the track, that's a lot of work.
What the kid just said. Hello. If you want the biggest spectacle ever, then let's have Bailey pull the motor out of the car every single day. Not once, but twice. Yes, I will eat popcorn and watch that shit going down.
That was awesome.
We can just call it the thrash and dash or something. And
100%. I will also tell you that I have helped out with a couple of guys who said, would there be a rule against having two engines in a car? And I said, probably. There's the blowed up Honda.
That thing would kaboom.
So in my world, if a guy wanted to say, take a Chrysler minivan and put a blown Hemi, a real Hemi, not a Gen 3 Hemi, in the back of it, connected to a V drive, like out of a boat, that ran forward and then back to a rear end so that it had an engine and all of the important stuff in the back, but still had the 4-cylinder up front. If that dude wants to drive it on the 4-cylinder all day, every day, back and forth and get 28 miles a gallon, don't care. If he's going to carry all that extra weight and do all of that and try and make that kind of thing live in the back, dude, party on. I'm in. Dude, do it. That would be awesome.
V-drives
if Finnegan and Freiberger come with Stubby Bob and with the little 4-cylinder in the front, you're all for it.
100%.
Oh yeah, I'll see Stubby Bob.
Who wouldn't be?
Awesome.
Hey Chad, real quick though,
awesome.
we saw Chet, come out with his plaid. Would you ever consider an electric class?
No.
I don't care one way or the other, but I'm not the guy that's all angry and pissy about electric cars. But I'll tell you why. 2 reasons why. Number one, because before any of the cars that any of us like at all, even if you're into Model A's and Model T's, before any of those were electric cars. They were first. They existed here in the United States and around the world before internal combustion engine cars were available.
There was an electric that resided about 2 blocks away from my shop for quite a while. It was actually one of the school teachers in Fremont.
Oh, there you go.
She had it, and it sat in this glass shop for a few years here.
Yeah. And
what I
so,
loved about watching Chet though was, he comes out with the Plaid and you're like, okay, well, it's just a Plaid. Anyone can buy that. Go. No, he has the Sawzall and he's gutting this thing, doing like, drag week stuff. Like he's hanging with the rest of them, cutting his car up.
Well, and quite frankly, I'm not excited about electric, like I am about internal combustion. But at the same time, dude, it's a 9-second car from the factory. I've driven one. They haul ass. Okay. They run 920s from the factory with this fat guy in it. Like it doesn't care, and that's cool.
I didn't ride in Chet's, but one of Doug's buddies had one, and we went for a ride in that thing, and that thing's crazy. Like literally, he said, "Hold on," and I was like, "No, I don't need to hold on." And it just sets you in the seat, and you're like, "Whoa!" And it's like, he said, "We're at 100," and I was like, "That's not 100." It felt so smooth. It's like, this is crazy.
And again, I'm a diehard Chevrolet guy to the core, right? I am never going to be a Ford guy or a Mopar guy or any of that. But if you're as into your Mopar and your Ford as I am into my Chevrolets, then you're my dude. So isn't it kind of judgmental to say, okay, but you can't be into a Tesla, or you can't be into a Honda, or you can't be into, I don't have to like it. Like, Chet, so what? You're spending money and doing car guy stuff with us.
So Chet, he put plexiglass windows in that car, and I was like, damn, all right.
That's what I love about him. He was out there, he was gutting his door panels off. He was putting the Lexan in.
Right.
Well, you've got how much battery do you got in that thing? What, like 500-600, maybe 1,000 pounds of battery in that thing?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a ton. Those things weigh like 4,000 pounds. I mean, they're
more
heavy.
Than that, like 5,000 pounds, Chet said.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy
and
heavy.
I know, it sounds funny because they're $130,000 cars. So I don't know how these people got financed, but I know a dozen people at least that have them. I know of 5 or 6 people that have them right here in Dallas. So, but again, they're not my big thing, but so what? It's sort of like the guy, if somebody put a Ford motor in a 55 Chevrolet, I'm going to gripe at him, but in the grand scheme of things, what do I care? When that guy decides he doesn't want his 55 Chevy anymore and he sells it, then you yank that shitty Ford engine out of it and put a big block Chevrolet in it like God intended and call it a day. Well,
you see races like 24 Hours of Lemons and some of those fun runs having like certain prizes and stuff or certain objectives for electric cars. So I think it's a matter of time before we start seeing more dedicated classes to those, even in drag racing. I know the Australians are doing crazy stuff with electric drag racing, so maybe we'll see some modular motors coming over onto our scene.
There's a bunch of stuff that is going on that people don't know is going on in the aftermarket right now. And there's a lot of stuff that's being tested. I can tell you that there are rules already against some of the things that we've tried to do at Bonneville with some electric stuff. And there's a bunch of other new stuff coming. So it's going to get to be more mainstream. Even if you don't have an electric car, there will be some other stuff.
I think it'd be foolish of anybody not to accept what is eventually coming down the pipeline. It's going to be more and more all the time. And it's sad that I've waited 40 plus years to get into hot rodding, hearing the motor, love the smell, love shifting gears, and the push of electric vehicles. Chevy's going to be all electric. And I'm be honest with you, I haven't seen anything that fits my lifestyle as like a truck. I drive work trucks. And what they do right now, it doesn't work. It's not a work truck yet. It's fun for a guy going around the block with his wife and going to the lake for a day or something, but it doesn't have the capabilities to pull a work trailer or a fishing boat and go 400 miles without a charge.
And it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to. Not yet. No. Because the truth of the matter is that's a small fraction of the number of trucks they sell. So if they have to sell the soccer mom an electric Silverado so that you can have a real work truck, then knock themselves out. You know?
Absolutely. And I the reason I bring that up is I was arguing with a guy at a rental shop because I have a Ford Transit van. Now, I'm a Chevy guy at heart. I have a Silverado, everything, but my Transit van will outwork any other truck. It's the best thing I've ever bought for my work. Yeah. And it's, what is it? A 3.5 or 3.7 liter, and it hauls inside the cab hauls 4,000 pounds. You know, it's crazy.
Wow.
So, you know,
Crazy.
it's a good, and I've had 2,000 pounds on the roof rack, and I welded it. So that tells you something. So
Good drag week in it.
Right, I could. I'm telling you, they're pretty quick for what they are. But the thing is, like, guys tell me, "Oh, you're going to get the new Ford Lightning." And I said, "It doesn't do what I need for work." And he says, "Oh, he'll do everything." And I said, "Well," he says, "It's 300 miles per charge." I said, "Okay, now add a work trailer behind it. Add 2 more guys into it.
Right.
Add stop and go traffic. Add air conditioning." I said, "All of these things, and you're down to about 150, 170 miles between charges." And I said, "I do that more than that a lot of days in the summer." I said, "What if I want to buy that truck and I want to go fishing where we call Lake of the Woods? It's up on the Canadian border in Minnesota. It's 8-hour drive. You can't do that once you put a boat behind it, air conditioning, or even go on a snowmobile trip when it's below 0 because the battery life comes on." So for me in my life, it's not there. But like you said, for the soccer mom or the guy who's got the 9-to-5 job where he just, you know, drives 15 minutes to work and runs to the gym and gets his little pump on and comes home, great, plug it in. That's your life. I appreciate that. It just doesn't work for me right now because I still have to pay some kid in the backseat to go.
I think Craig, what you said right there was super accurate. You said it doesn't work for you right now.
Yeah,
you know, right. I think it's one of those things that, you know, I mean, the first truck, the Model T, that couldn't haul shit either.
No.
Nope.
But, you know, but look at it now. So I think that's a valid point, a good way to kind of segue that. You know, let's pick that up. Let's have a discussion on that. You know, this is something we could bring a lot of people in and kind of get everyone's thoughts because it's a pretty hot topic.
The next to be the next engineer mechanic, is it be an electrician? Do I send my kid to be an electrician to start, you know, working on cars? That's the question.
Get a call center. Blayne, what were you saying?
I don't think they can shut us down in the sense of motor vehicles with combustion because they don't have enough people right now in the world with electric cars, so they can't get more than one people to agree with their statement.
Oh, you can't get people to agree on what color to paint a fence. I mean,
yeah,
there's always going to be disparity.
Yeah,
but I get your point, Blayne, and you're right. And the big thing is that I think people need to remember is people need to put they need to quit just giving it lip service, right? If you're truly as committed to hot rods and racing as you say you are, and I'm using you as in everybody in the world, and you really say you'd give up anything or do anything to be able to have your hot rods, then prove it, right? Because if the government said, "Chad, you can have any hot rod you want as long as you have an electric vehicle in your driveway as well," then God damn it, I'll have an electric vehicle in my driveway.
Sure.
That sounds like
I don't care.
That's like the best
I
of both
probably won't
worlds.
drive an electric vehicle, but it'll sit in my driveway.
Blayne,
and
you and I already got electric vehicles. RC
so
cars.
do I. RC cars.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got my RC
So
car.
there we
I'll
go.
sit in the driveway.
And that's the point that
my Barstool racer.
That's one of the things that people are missing. So I went and announced I announce all Holly's events, right? So they did the High Voltage Festival, which was at Sonoma Raceway Park. And it was their EV Fest, as we called it. It was a great event. In fact, way better than anybody would have expected for the first year. One of the things that's really interesting, well, a couple of things, but one thing that's really interesting is that, so Holly's events, if you buy an adult ticket, you get a free kids ticket as well, right? You just have to say you want one, okay? So, Tom buys a ticket to LS Fest and says, "Oh, Blayne's coming." He just signs up. Well, the number of kids tickets and the number of children attending EV Fest per paid ticket was more than double for the same thing for LS Fest, Ford Fest, or Mo Party. Wow. Literally, the people that were attending EV Fest or High Voltage brought twice as many children. Okay. Now,
why do you think that is, Chad?
I'll tell you why. 2 things. Number one, because it's not obnoxious and scary. It's quiet, right? In the grand scheme of things, it's quieter, right? So you feel like you can bring your younger kids to it a little bit more. But the bigger reason is this: unless your dad is Walt Reynolds or Tom Stark or some other racer dad, right? And hot rodding dad, then your kids have no exposure to muscle cars and street machines. Nothing. Rich Guido, thank you for joining us. So awesome seeing you, my friend. Rich has got to bust out.
See you, Rich. Thanks for coming on.
See ya.
Yeah, thank you guys. Take care.
Thanks for joining us, Rich. We'll have to get you on sometime and do a proper interview with Rich.
Hey there, Rich. I want you to know you can stay warm up there in Canada, okay?
Yeah, I will.
Dude, good job on driving your car.
Yes.
Kyle says it the best. He's like, well, we just go outside when it's cold.
Yeah.
Warm inside the house. Like,
exactly.
pretty
Oh,
easy.
geez. Oh, Jesus. Just sit back, have a Labatt's Blue and relax, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, take care, guys.
See you later.
All right, thanks.
See you later.
Thanks for joining us, Rich. Everybody,
but
that
the
was
other
Rich Guido.
reason
I want to
is-
say thanks for him joining us. I really appreciate
that was awesome.
Oh, Rich
And,
is the best.
Speaking
Have a
of,
good week.
Rich rolling out, I think we are running a little bit close on time. But
Yeah.
Chad,
So let me
was-
get this real quick.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is the deal. Whether you're a car guy or not, your kids are into RC cars, and your
Yep.
kids don't care. They have no anxiety about range. They have no anxiety about plugging a car in because they plug their cars in. Their cars don't make car guy noises. So a kid that already plays with Traxxas and everything else, right, knows electric RC cars, they already know the battery technology, the way it all works. They're used to all of that. So they are like, yeah, I plug my car in. That's not a weird thing to them.
That's
so you got to
a
remember
very,
that part of it.
Very powerful argument right there. I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
It's
neither have I.
100%. It's the reason. And it's the thing that we're missing. And when I say we, I'm not including myself in that because I'm not missing this, but we as an industry are missing this because we feel threatened by an electric car. And quite frankly, it's the same deal as people going, Whataburger or In-N-Out.
No,
Well,
it's just Whataburger,
I
though.
hate
It's not
to
even-
tell you,
In-N-Out.
but I'm a fat guy. I like both of them, right? I don't care. They're two totally different things. Yeah, they both serve burgers, but I don't got to like one more than the other. It's the United States
yeah.
of America. I can have both.
Yeah,
I can have
whatever you
electric
want.
cars and 55 Chevys.
Chad, let me just
What?
touch on Traxxas really quick.
Yes,
Do not build a Traxxas Slash as a drag car.
I know. I
Don't
have
do it.
I know.
Don't do it.
Blayne, I was going to get a drag slash. Is that not the way to go?
No, you can do that. Don't
Yeah.
build your own Slash.
Okay,
though.
but the
Correct.
drag slash is good to
Bad
go.
news.
The drag
Yes,
slash
drag
is okay, but
good.
modding
Do not-
one into a
no.
drag is not the smart way to go.
What about the
Don't do
low
that.
C
You'll
versus the
break, like-
Traxxas?
Low C.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that
I'm
later.
sorry.
I wanna-
My personal opinion is you work on Traxxas more than you drive Traxxas.
My kid
I
found
like
that
the low
out.
C.
He's got let's see, my oldest, what's the truck? Is the truck the Slash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's one of them.
My oldest has the Slash, and he's put more in parts in it than he paid for it.
That's what I did.
It's like my
Yeah.
Track
Yeah.
5.
Now I have an
I was gonna say,
Arma,
it sounds
That's
like
my
every
reason
car
why
I
I
own.
say go away from Traxxas.
I have an Arma
Um,
Vortex, and I really haven't put anything in it, but and it smokes
See-
his Traxxas every time.
Yeah, exactly.
the
I
thing
just got a Team Associated DR10.
Yeah.
Those things
See,
rock.
the DR10 is rad. I have to
The
say, I want
DR10
one.
They're,
You like it?
oh yeah, I'm still.
So
saving
what would
mine
you
now
guys
because I
say
don't
if
want
I told you that we're working on doing live streaming at some RC drag races this year?
Yes.
I'm down.
Oh, that'd
Yep.
be
When
cool.
1320 did that little clip of
Yep.
the drags, I was so glued to that. I didn't even
Dude.
know I
Yep.
was interested in
Definitely,
We're-
that was so fun.
We are currently
watching
talking
it.
with two different promoters for some big no prep stuff. And we're discussing putting on a race actually at my property to do a Texas 8th mile. They're normally scale quarter, but
Yep.
to do a Texas 8th mile shootout because I have a 120 foot long concrete slab. So we
All right,
could
Chad,
do.
I'm
yeah.
down.
that. Yeah,
Right?
fire me up.
What
Fire
money
It's
do you
me
a,
up.
want? Here you
it
go.
is a virgin,
Let me know.
smooth, gorgeous, like we could do, and
When
it's
we were
so
at the
wide
Garlic
we could do a
Museum-
no prep and a prep. It'd be rad.
When
Yeah.
we were at the Garlic Museum, did you see those two patches that looks like shadows almost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the guy told us that was an actual RC drag racing.
Yeah. They've held some events there. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
So yeah, I've been looking around for events.
Yeah,
We'll
Chad,
talk.
I do have something I wanted to ask regarding Sick Week before we start to kind of roll out of here. I know it's the hot topic right now. Everyone's been buzzing about it. What's the word on the shitbox of doom?
So my understanding, chassis is predominantly okay. I mean, it has not gotten back to the shop to get measured or any of that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But just looking at it, it seems like chassis damage is superficial. If you look at the way the car crashed, the crash was scary. Yeah, the crash was scary looking, but it really just did one flip onto its lid. I mean, it did go into the wall, don't get me wrong. But it didn't really barrel roll.
It tore up the right front fender and the roof. That's about it.
Well, it kind of looks like it maybe shoved the right front wheel up in the fender a little bit. But
yeah, exactly.
That may have been how the fender folded over the wheel too.
Right. Say that again, Joe.
Oh, it looked really dramatic. It's all steel, so when it's on its side, it's throwing sparks everywhere. So that's what I saw.
Well, and I think the initial big sparks that you saw was probably the bullhorns and whatnot. On the initial.
I think it was the rocker actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
the rocker looked like it scraped before.
For those of you that haven't watched the video, there's a bunch of videos out there now about from the crash. But the car, he left the starting line and it not immediately, but it quickly worked its way over toward the left side of the wall, and he really wasn't in the groove anymore. And he was legging it out all the way down there. There seems to be some question because of some of what looked like dust or steam, who knows what, at the top end, that it may have lifted the head. But the truth of the matter is he went through the lights. He was over near the left wall, and it appears that either it had a leak or when he lifted off the throttle, he wasn't in the parachutes, right? Didn't have the chutes out,
by the way. Yeah.
Right. Never pulled or deployed. I don't know which. I'm not saying
never came out of the bag.
Yeah, he never came out of the bag. Yeah. I have no idea why. I'm not pointing blame or anything, but
yeah, definitely not.
But the chute never came out. And so what happened then off the throttle and maybe with fluid, the front end now is on the ground real good and turning because he's been trying to get it away from the wall all the pass, presumably. And the thing hooks the hard right like crazy, obviously, as everybody saw, and immediately up on its lid. And so that onto its lid wasn't really, that severe as far as impact or, any of those G-forces, et cetera. The hit in the wall then becomes the one that's like, ooh, that's the big, crunch moment. And while I'm sure it was very scary for Aiden being upside down in that thing, as it would scare anybody crashing, the truth is it being upside down and staying upside down was way better.
Probably the best thing that it could have done, because if it would have went back over and started hooking and barrel rolling, that'd be even worse. So
and that car, I mean,
barrel rolling a car is horrific. Your arm, unless you have arm restraints, your arms are flailing. They're braking against all of the roll cage that you can't keep from hitting. I mean, this looked far more dramatic than it was from a pure safety perspective. And I said it literally minutes after it happened, that if you had to pick, 10 cars at this event to be in when you crashed, that'd be one of them, right? It had a lot of chassis. Okay.
Yeah, the wheelbase on that is so long.
By far, Blayne. Absolutely. And I've said this to people all the time. You never should get into a car and say, oh, I drive this. You could, if everything goes right, a complete pile of crap will go down a racetrack, right?
Yeah.
But when things go wrong, what you want to know is that you're in a car you're willing to crash in. So legitimately, I've raced all kinds of cars. And every time I get in a new one, I look around, I inspect this car and go, I'm willing to crash this thing and be inside it. That's more important. it's a different mentality, and it should be the one you have, because that is a very safe car. And if you're gonna crash, again, that was one of the cars to crashing, you know.
So Dad actually talked to Tom about redoing that metal on that car and keeping it how it is, just the roof.
Yeah.
And so I have a feeling the car's going to be back before too long.
Yeah, and I sent Tom a message and told him too that I know where some front end sheet metal is available for that thing. So I'm actually offline. I need to talk to you three. Well, actually, all of you is fine, about some other parts that may be coming available, and then we'll make that public later on. But there could be a really good stash of stuff, people, that is coming out to continue to live, which would be great.
Let's make it happen.
We should talk to Tom about an RC class on race or sick week or anything.
I have been working on it for years with Traxxas. I've had the idea for years to do it on Rocky Mountain Race Week, and to do it as have a class that we do at the hotel for the adults if they want to do it, but to have it for kids at the racetrack. I'm working on it because my event will be in Texas and Traxxas is right here in Texas. So if we can do it, I'd like to make that happen to where the kids, then the cars would be provided. They'd be able to race every day, and their ET and reaction time would be used to crown a junior.
Now that,
I think that would be cool.
That's so freaking awesome, Chad. Let us know how we can kind of help promote that.
Yeah, actually, I've not had the success with Traxxas that I wanted, and so I'm actually working right now on talking to some people with Losi and some other stuff. So I'm hoping we can get something together. Originally, I wanted to do Traxxas because I thought they could bring all the funny cars. And it would be cool just to do the funny cars, and they have the whole timing system and all that. But I don't think that's really a big problem, because any hobby shop or brand literally could just bring a Sprinter van and a couple of guys who would maintain the cars and have the stuff with them. Yeah. And just show up and set it up every day in the parking lot and let the kids go at it. I think it would be a riot. So,
well, I'll tell you, if I was at a drag week with my car and my car broke, and I saw a bunch of people out there in the parking lot doing no prep I would put down cash right then and there so I could keep playing around.
Right.
Me and Joey
I would buy one right on the spot.
Me and Joey Berry tried to line up a race in the parking lot. Obviously, we ran out of time and never got it done. But I took my car on sick week, and he took his car on sick week, and we were going to line them up in the hotel parking lot or find an open parking lot somewhere around there and line them up, and then we were going to.
Blayne, when you guys come to my event, which will hopefully be filling you in more over the coming weeks, but when you come to my event, there will be RC car drag racing each night, for 100%, for sure. Even if somebody isn't sponsoring that portion, there will be everything there, and it'll be set up, and it'll be in a concrete parking lot, and the whole day. Like, I already have the places laid out. It's
that would be so sweet. Just concrete parking lot. You can't hook them very good on just like bad asphalt. If you have like good asphalt and you know it's good, like that freshly smooth asphalt, then you can get them to hook. But otherwise, it's like concrete, please.
Now my Armor Fury here until I crashed it. That thing when I had the Big Daddy slicks on it and I had the regular slicks on it. That thing would hook anywhere. Didn't matter whether it was the regular slicks or the Big Daddies, man. That sucker hooked. It was actually ripping
I run
holes.
the Big Daddies, but I've been working on a little bit with my car and haven't had the most success yet. So
I competed in a wood sander drag race once.
Yeah.
And people think that's funny to say. I'm a carpenter by trade, and somebody said the local Home Depot is like, "Hey, you want to run a sander race?" And I'm like, "A what?"
Oh yeah, belt sander. Yeah, absolutely.
Belt sander. So I got my dad's like 1983 on Black & Decker, and I just started drilling holes in the housing just to lighten it up. And I put 40 grit, cleaned it really good. I mean, it had 40 years worth of sawdust in it, and I think I did 4th place or something. And you would be surprised how guys take even that stupidity of an activity so serious, because they will look at the electric motor and they'll go, "Wow, this one only turns at 10,000."
Put it on a belt sander. We love it. Put it in a car. They hate it.
Yeah.
oh my God, this one only does 10,000 RPMs as a sander. This one does 11.5. We got to get this electric motor into this sander to turn the belt. Like,
even though it's 11.5.
Now, the only one I've ever seen in person had it so that the cord, when the sander got to the end of the track, it literally would unplug itself. Is that how yours were?
Nope. We had there's 4 lanes of sanders. Yeah. And above it, they had some cables. So all of the extension cords kind of dragged on the cable above. And so it just got to the end and smashed into a piece of foam and wood, and they called it a day. You know? Okay,
so the one I saw, so when it literally would go through the lights, it would unplug itself.
Yeah, so, it's almost like drag at the end.
Let's do those too, Chad. Put it at your event. We'll call it Grit Week, and we'll just run sanders.
Be way cheaper, dude.
Dude, I'm 10 minutes from 3M headquarters. You know, I'll just go grab some sandpaper and we'll get going.
Get all the abrasives.
Yeah. There was a famous Ben Stiller line in the movie Envy where he was with Jack Black. It's like 15 years ago. And he worked at 3M in the movie. And he looked at himself one night. He goes, "What am I doing? I glue sand to paper." That was the best line ever.
So, Chad, at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that you had a live show coming up in a few days. When is it? What are you going to talk about, and where can we find it?
It's going to be Thursday. It'll be on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, and it's going to be the truth about drag and drive events. So, like I said, it's going to talk about the realities of prepping a car for it at 30,000 feet. We're not going to get into a lot of details, although we'll be open for questions. Obviously, we're going to talk about the similarities between the events. I've been on Drag Week, both Rocky Mountain Race Week, Sick Week. I've not done Midwest Drags, but I know people that have. So
Midwest Drag sounds fun.
Yeah, so I think we can speak intelligently on what the differences are and the similarities. And talk about what it takes to do one of these as far as your attitude, what you've got to have, not just physically to the car, but all of that, So, and the truth behind them, there's a bunch of info people think they know and they don't. And there's a bunch of people that should know all the details about all the events and they have no clue, like none. And it's hilarious. So, because there's some pretty significant differences. I mean, Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0, the total purse is like 45 grand. Actually, it'll be closer to 50. There's a special award that Matt doesn't even know is happening yet, that we're doing this year. So it's almost 50 grand in total purse at that event. Which, none of the other events have a purse, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't matter, but there's just a bunch of stuff that is different at each one, and you should know it. I mean, if you're gonna do them, and I think that now is the golden age of drag and drive events. I think that there's going to be more of them coming. There's a couple more that are happening this year. Like I said, I'm planning, my event, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. So
I think you made some, and that's something. So who's this presentation for? Is this kind of for people that may be interested in doing a drag and drive, or even seasoned people that just want
everybody? Absolutely. And the reason I say that everybody is because, again, I was dumbfounded by the number of people that I talked to during Sick Week who were first timers and veterans alike, who did not know really what they were talking about when they were talking about different events and how they compared to each other, because maybe they had only been a drag weeker, right? Or only been a Rocky Mountain Race Week guy, and so they didn't know really what really went on the other ones. And they sort of had these assumptions that made them not go on some of the other events when they could have, and I went, oh my God, you didn't go because you thought that? I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, you just shortchanged yourself from going and having a great time on cool events, So it's that. And a buddy of mine, Alan Whitaker, a guy I met on Sick Week, who's friends of friends, rode with me on the trip and for 2 of the days, and he just needed a ride. He was one of the volunteers for the event. And he's a stock eliminator guy, drives a 70 or 71 Monte Carlo, that he's converting over to being a drag and drive car with big Steve Morris power and all kinds of stuff on a small tire. Like, the dude is going all in. And he said, okay, what are some of the things I need to really know? You know, and Blayne can tell you that some of the stuff that people worry about is not the stuff you should be worried about. And there's other stuff that people go, oh, it'll be fine. And it ain't, you know?
Yep.
Well, we're definitely looking forward. We'll be tuning in. Y'all be sure to check out Chad out at Bank Shift. Check out some of the content on Sick the Mag. It's all over YouTube too. Sick Week, I think overall was a success. What would you say?
Oh, I'd say it was absolutely. Sure. It was a first year event. It did it have some growing pains? Are there some things they need to do different? Yeah, but they're not stupid. They know that. I mean, that's how it's going to be. I presume that when I do my event, I'm going to, by the middle of the first day, go, oh my God, I screwed that up. I mean, who's not? So that's what it's about. But they did it. And there was more carnage on this event than there's been on most of them the last couple of years, which was completely opposite of what they were trying to achieve. And that was unfortunate. But I mean, dude, everybody had a good time. There was great racing. It was cool racetracks. The weather was weird, but good, generically speaking. Mm-hmm. I mean, Blayne, didn't you have a good time?
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I mean, you weren't at school.
I wasn't at school, but
yeah. So that was better than being at school. Yeah.
From a fan's perspective, I think one thing I want to comment, the coverage on this week was excellent.
Oh, it was spectacular. Oh, yeah. Warren Evans is a great dude. He does a great job. He did Drag Week this year. Warren and I have been friends for, several years now. He's a great dude. And I was happy to be involved in the broadcast. And yeah, he did a great job. And it was fun. I mean, it was just good coverage, no doubt.
And I think awesome. As we kind of close out, that was a point that I think happened in Rocky Mountain when, it's hard to get coverage out there. The infrastructure is not as good, Kearney, Nebraska, or Kearney, Kansas. And, you're going to have trouble with the coverage. Kearney.
Oh yeah.
But, out here we had good connection, good everything. I think now is a better time than ever for people to start getting interested in drag and drives, just across the board. Do it. Watch
Agreed.
it.
Yeah. Agreed wholeheartedly.
So anyway,
by the way, I know that all three of you have 55 Chevrolets up there. And then Blayne unfortunately has to ride around in one. But a 56 Chevrolet is the best.
But I have my 56.
Okay.
Chad,
oh wait. You have a 56, Blayne?
Yeah.
Is it a wagon?
No.
Oh. Mine is a wagon, but a 56, dude. Amen, brother. 56. Amen, brother.
All right. Hey, I'm wearing
56 is where it's at.
Yes, everybody has one handicap in the family,
Oh, dude, I cover all the handicaps in my family.
Yeah,
the only thing I wish is with the 57, they would have kept the dash. Just the 567.
Dude, yeah. 57 dash is so ugly.
That's what I'm saying. Keep the 55 and 6 dash through 57.
Bad. Right. I agree. I don't like the 57 dash or the 57 fins, actually, are my least favorite part. I like the fender wells of a 56, which are obviously the same as a 7. But I like the boxiness that comes from the 5 in the 6. So yeah. To me, it's the best of both worlds.
Give it up for the taillights on the 55.
They're cool.
Far none. And the Ferrari front end. I mean, that's the Ferrari grill. That's what it is.
No.
Yeah.
Well, not really a Ferrari guy, but whatever.
We can agree to disagree on years.
That's where the stylings came from, was the Ferrari.
As long as we all agree.
I wouldn't kick any Tri-5 out of my drive.
As long as it's a
But I prefer a 56.
I would. The guys that call Corvettes Tri-5s, I don't care. It's plastic. No. It's not a Tri-5.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not a Tri-5.
I would never talk
Chevy
down on
means a 55, 6, or 7 full-size Chevrolet car.
Yeah. 4,000
Unless it's a
pounds.
hard top.
Yeah.
Unless it's a hard top.
Bite me.
Hard top.
Wagons for the win, baby.
Hey, yeah, this has been the year of wagons.
I have a 56 Bel Air and a 66 Bel Air.
Well, hopefully we get to see them out at your event.
Yes.
So we're definitely looking forward to that. Daniel, is there anything you want to shout out in closing? I think we've had
not anything that I really got to shout out. I just want to say thank you for everybody that's coming out and tuning into the show tonight. I want to thank Chad for joining. I want to thank Rich for jumping on late. I just kind of sent him a message, asked him to join, and then I ended up asking Tom Stark, and he got Blayne jumping on. So yeah, everybody that jumped in, I really want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for joining in.
Thanks
and everybody that
us.
watched, I really appreciate it. So anyways, still sedans rule and hardtops rule.
Of course. And that's it.
Hey, Blayne, hit me up on Facebook Messenger.
I'm on Facebook.
Tomorrow
I'll hit you up on Instagram or something.
Okay, yeah, hit me up on IG.
All right.
Hit me up tomorrow. We need to talk.
That's his polite way for saying Facebook's for old guys.
Yeah, I don't care. That's fine. He's right.
No,
I don't like
I'll
it
hit you
anyway.
up tomorrow.
Yeah, hit me up tomorrow.
Right.
Oh, and tell your old man that we had a good time, even though he had to go to bed because it was past his old man bedtime.
Blayne,
Actually, he was at work.
Care
Tough break.
Oh, okay.
Hey, dude, did you like your care package?
Yes, dude, that thing was sweet.
All right.
What? The kid got a care package?
Yeah, dude, I got some stickers.
What?
Oh yeah, I threw one up in the. I forgot to tell you guys or send you guys a picture. There's one in the window right there, in the front window, right in that corner.
Ooh, I'm gonna go look for it. I'm gonna go look for it.
Yeah, you can.
Dude, they're all nerded out now. They're all geeking. Like, oh, our stickers on the car.
Well, no, tell them about the contest, Daniel and Craig.
Well, what we're doing right now in the Tri-5 mob, I haven't set a start date, and because I got to get a little connected to Craig and make sure he's got enough decals. But we're actually doing a sticker decal contest as to who can place the decal in the most interesting place.
And so we did this in Chad. So we did this we did this about 4 years ago when we first got the page up and going, and everybody had to buy, it was like 4 stickers and put them wherever you could.
I already know the best spot.
And so there was one guy, Shane Olson, he lives in Illinois, it's Biggsville, and he put it on the sign, so it says Biggsville, Indiana, as he's driving in. That was cool. A local guy here put it on a sheriff's car. Well, we had one guy who used his wife's attachments and covered the parts up with a stick. And I'm like, okay, he's going to win. And at the last minute, this guy, Mike Bronzini, he lives in Redlands, California.
I know that. I know him. And so, I don't know why, but I do know him.
Okay, he runs or manages servicing a big RV department. That's what he does.
Yes.
RV, right? So, and he's got 2 now. He's got a 57. He's got a 55 hardtop. And I get this text message one night, and I'm like, shit. I put my head down, so then I had to send it to a couple partners in crime. I said, I think we got a winner. And imagine, so our stickers, well, this is a national stickers, but it's like this.
Yeah.
So he sends me a picture of Jay Leno.
No way.
Yeah.
He got Leno to do it? Oh,
yeah,
that's legit.
Dude, he went live on a video. It was Christmas, like a week before Christmas. Jay Leno's having a Christmas party at his house, and Jay Leno's house is, of course, off the hook, right?
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden it says, Mike Bronzini's going live. And this is back, 3-4 years ago. Yeah, there it is. And
that's awesome.
And so it's like 3-4 years ago, and all of a sudden it says Mike Bronzini's live on the mob. So we go tune in, and he's walking around Jay Leno's house live in Facebook, and Jay Leno comes up, hey, what's going on, guys? Blah, 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 talks, and he's driving a freaking, like a 6-horsepower little motorbike through his house. That's how big it is. He's crazy.
I love it.
Yeah. So
awesome.
we're gonna have another sticker competition and figure out some new rules. And I've got a bunch of old stickers, but I think it's good to get some new colors on the decals for guys and get it freshened up and do the same thing. And like I said, it's wherever you can. And we have a contest. There's a guy who's now in the mob named Steve Blades, and he's kind of what I would refer to as Tri-5 royalty, because he used to work with the Tri-5 Association doing the tech articles. He knows all of the salvage guys, the guys that are out digging the barn finds and stuff. And he's actually Barn Find 57's his name on Instagram. Anyways, him and I had a little dispute. This is back in 2018, and he kicked me off of a couple pages that he ran on Facebook because he didn't want to answer questions that I had questions to. So I put a bounty out there. I said, hey, anybody that can stick a mob sticker on one of his cars at Nationals, I'll give a free sweatshirt to or something like that. But nobody dared put a sticker on his car because he had them like in the booths, and they're nice cars. And now I ran into him this last year at Nationals, and I introduced myself, and we're cool. He's in the mob now, and he's a super nice guy and very, very knowledgeable on it. But I told him about the bet we had. And he goes, really? He goes, oh, they should have just done it. I'm like, yeah, because I said, if I was there, I was going to crawl underneath and put it on the pumpkin, I
right.
said, that would be perfect. But, it was what it is. So we'll get that competition going, let you guys know a little bit.
Nice. Well, thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for everybody being here. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. So we're going to sign off for this week. And thank you very much to everybody for being here and being with us. We'll see you next time. And we had a great night. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, guys, stay tuned to the Facebook page to see who we'll have up next week.
Sounds good, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for tuning in to Try 5 Talk with your hosts Daniel Check, Craig Westfenning, Joey Truelove, and a special thank you for our background designer Chad Reynolds, and a special thank you as well for our production analyst Joe Miller. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you next time.